Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Crown of Emara. Let's check it out. Now there is a lot of setup to this game. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be placing out the two rondels. These boards come apart so you can actually mix them up, and so the game will always be different every time you play. You will have a list of events here, and at the beginning you just pull one randomly and you look at the two icons on the side, and that's where you would start. This player would start. So I start on the wood area in the country here, and the bag area over here, in the town there. Now this is your event deck. I'll get more to that later. You'll always have an event deck there. That's where that's how you decide where starting players go. In addition, each player will get their own little player board here. It is both a male and, if you flip around, female if you want it to be. And you do have your little 5 or 4 workers. You'll place them on the board, covering up those little bonus points in the game. Your little markers, of course, will notate where you are in the town and in the country. You have this little guy with the slanty hat, and he is going on the 0 track for citizens, and then your house will go on number 35. You'll also have a board where you'll put out these cards from Baron, Count, Prince, Marquis, and the Duke, and you'll stack them up put as many cards in there as there are players in the game. And then you'll also be setting up both boards. Now, I've kind of done a stripped down version of a setup here just to kind of throw it together for you, but you'll stack all the wheat over in the wheat section, the wood over in the wood section, stone and cloth, which are the other two resources, will go in their sections too, and you can just have piles on the side of the board. You also have some of these bread tokens you want to keep over to the side. Doesn't matter anywhere, you just put it over to the side of the board. Over in the town area, there's a little bit more going on here. You're going to shuffle up all of these little character cards, and you're going to put them in the spaces of each corners of each town. Also, you're going to have these two little rondels here, not rondels, but just little rotating point trackers. You're going to put them at the highest one, that's why they're in bold there, and you're going to place them in the areas. It's kind of easy where to tell. Plus you have some brown and some red little markers here. You'll set them at bold, which is 1 right now, and you'll put them in those areas as well, the ring and the book area. Brown is book, red is ring. All right, also speaking of, you will have a stack of, in the church area, you'll have a stack of books and a stack of favor tokens. I just put 1 each, but you'll just put them over here. Over in this area here, the king's area, you'll have a bunch of signet rings. A whole stack of them, or pile of them, will go there. And then, of course, over here where the bag is, the money, the bank, you'll have tons of coins that you'll be stacking up here. So a little bit big on the setup. This is the first player marker here, so first player will get this. Each player will also get their own deck of cards. It's the same as everyone else's cards, but will have your shield color on it. And then you get this really awesome handy dandy player aid, which is fan-friggin-tastic. I love this player aid. So what you're going to be doing each time to start the game is you're going to take 3 cards into your hand. You're shuffling this deck and you're taking 3 cards in this hand, and then you're going to determine what action you want to take with them. Now these cards give you all sorts of bonuses in the game. You see, some give you just base resources. One of the base resources when you play it. Some of them give you signet rings, or an extra movement around the rondel, or discounts, or you exchange goods for coins, I should say. And this one's discounts for bonus actions, which I'll get to in a moment. And then this one lets you take an action in any one of these sections, even though your person may not be in that section. So what you're doing, you're shuffling these, you're taking 3 cards and you're putting them in your hand, and you're deciding on your turn where you want to place them in your slots. You have a 1, 2, or 3 step. Now when you place it there, not only do you get to use the reward on the card, but you have to move the full extent of those movements. So for instance, if I place on 3 and I said you can even move in the county or the town, but let's say I didn't want to, if I place this one here, let's say, I would have to move 3 spaces. I couldn't just go 1, 2, okay, I don't want to move that third one. Doesn't matter. You do have to move the full amount of the movement whenever you place your card there. So there's a lot of decision going on about, what rewards you want to get and how far you want to go on either one of these rondelles. So let me start over in the country and tell you what your options are. Obviously, depending on which section you go in, you're going to get one of that resource from that board. In addition to that, if you do already have wheat with you and you land on one of these sections, you can convert that wheat on any one of these sections here to bread. Now, bread is something you can sell in the town for points, and at the end of the game, it also counts for points too. So that's what you're doing basically in the country. Now, there are some bonus actions here that once you move, take advantage of your action card, then you can do one of these bonus actions. And the bonus actions are very simple. If you look, and I'm going to zoom in to the country here, these towns, these little houses here, they have little icons on them showing different types of resources. If I were to pay, let's say, 2 wood here, then I could go ahead and plant one of my little people right here. Now, once someone is in a house, no one else can occupy that house. I should also mention that wherever you begin your turn at the beginning of the game, you will also get that resource. So you'll start off with 1 resource. So maybe I start off with 1 wood, and maybe I played a bonus card that gave me another wood, and I landed here for some reason because I'd used the 3. I went 1, 2, 3 because I'm working in clockwise order. So I'd go ahead and take my 1 action, which would be take a wheat, and then as a bonus action, I would pay 2 wood and put one of my workers down. Now that does a few things. On my own little player board, if you notice, when I got rid of that worker, I have the little number 1. That means I've added 1 citizen to my town. So then I would move up to this track here, and I'd move my little man to 1 right there. The goal of the game is basically getting your housing up and your citizens up, and the lower of these two will be your in-game scoring. So you want to keep a good balance of both of them. Anyway, going back to the board here, the next time if I were to land on wheat, I would get not just 1, but 2 wheat, or maybe 2 actions in there. I would get a wheat and maybe convert a wheat to bread. So having your people in at least 1 in each section is really good. But remember, there are only 3 houses in each section, so you could get locked out if it's a 4-player game because not more than 1 person can occupy 1 house. So that's all what's going on in the country. Now over in the town, there's a lot of busy stuff going on. So the town has a lot of actions, a lot of things you can do, but even though it looks busy, it is very easy to understand. First off, let me go over to this town here. Well, let me start where I'm at. I'll start, no, I'll go over here. I'll go to the town first. All right, so I can pay, and it says here 1 to 3 bread. So that's why you need to make that bread over in the country. You make that bread, you can convert it into that times the number on this wheel. So if I had 3 bread times 7, that would give me 21 citizens, and I would go up 21 on the board. So you can see how this is a great way to get your citizens up there by exchanging that bread. Now, the other thing is to get your buildings up. If you were to pay 1 stone, it would be 5 plus whatever the number is on this little turn marker, so which would be 5 right here. So that would be 10 housing if I gave 1 stone there. So then on my housing, I would move up 10. Remember, I'm trying to get both of these markers moved up because I want them both to be high, because the lowest one of these will be my in-game scoring. Now, whenever you utilize one of those actions, you're going to turn the wheel over 1. So that means instead of 7, the next person gets times 6, and then times 5, and as you see, it goes lower and lower. Now when it gets to the very bottom, you'll just remove it, and as you see, the base number here is 3, and the base number here is 1. Reward. So your rewards do go down a little bit. Now, I just realized I said that it's 5 housing plus 5. Actually, I just noticed right here, it's 5 citizens. So I should have gone up 10. I should have just gone up 5 housing and 5 citizens. So pardon me on that. There are ways to get other buildings built, though, by depositing wood. If you were to give 3 wood, you could get up to 10 housing. If you had just 1 wood, you would get 5 housing. So that's the way to get your buildings up, so you can afford more citizens and have more places for them to live. Now the other area is over here at the church. When you utilize any one of these 4 resources, you donate any one of these 4 resources, it says just 1 right now, you will get a book and one of these favor tokens. You'll get to pull 3 and choose one. Favor tokens are just little extra bonuses in the game. This one's going to give me 5 housing and whatnot. The rule book is very simple. It tells you, even though you can read the iconography here, it's very simple, but the rule book explains what each one does. Anyway, so you get to pick up a book and pick up 3 of these favors and choose one of them, return the other 2 at the bottom of the deck. Once you utilize whichever, let's say I paid that wheat that I'd gotten earlier, so I'm going to rotate the wheat to 2. That means the next person that has to go through here has to pay 2 wheat in order to get a book. Now eventually, once it gets to 3, it gets removed, and as you see, it's permanently a 3 if so many people have used it so many times in the game. Over here is where you can get rings. Same thing applies. Deposit 1 of the resources and then rotate that to the next higher number, so it'd be a little bit more difficult for the next person to go there. In addition, here you can exchange 1 book and get 5 housing, just like it says on the board there. Also, when you exchange one of these resources, I should mention, you get a ring, and these rings are worth bonus points at the end of the game, but also this is where you get promoted in stature. So I'll explain what that means in a minute. But anyway, finally, the bank, when you go here, you can exchange as many books as you can, and the more books you can get, the more books you exchange, the more citizens you get, and the house tells you what it would be worth. So for instance, 1 book would be 3, but if you had like 5 books, you could get 12, or no, that's 21 citizens, excuse me, trying to read this upside down. That's 21 citizens if you save up all of your books there. Now, also, you can exchange any good, any one of the 4 goods from the county, from the country, and exchange it for a gold coin. Gold coins are also ways you can get promoted by royalty. Now that I'm speaking about it, one of your free actions is to get promoted by royalty. And as you see, we have our 5 titles here. So you have to go in order, but to do that you would have to pay the cost. And of course this is a bonus action you could do. So to be a baron, I would have to pay 1 ring. Now the other ones would cost, count would cost a ring and a coin, prince would cost a ring and a coin, of course marquis, a ring and 2 coins, and a duke, 2 rings and 2 coins. So eventually you're just having to build up the way. And once you do that, well, you'll take this card, basically you'll get those little bonus points, and then you'll slip it underneath your character card like so. So it looks like he's being anointed that title there. So kind of neat there. Anyway, so that's how it works when getting promoted. That's another bonus action. Another bonus action that I have not spoken about, let me back away again, is you can, whatever section you're in, you can also purchase a character card. Now these character cards, I can only purchase them that are in my area. So if I'm here, I can only purchase one of these 2. And again, the iconography here is very easy to understand. However, the book, the instruction manual tells you what each one is. Of course, lightning means immediately, infinity means from now on. Sometimes they get the 1 times marker, which means you can only cash in once. All you have to do is pay the goods listed at the top here, and then you can take the card and receive the reward. Once that's done, you'll replace you'll discard the character card if it's a one-time only, and you'll just replace it with another card from the stack over here to wherever it was. What you're doing is you're doing all of these actions back and forth. You're playing the 3 cards in these areas, moving those many spaces, then drawing up 3 more cards. After 6 rounds of doing this, of course, you're going to look and see what your lowest score was in citizens or housing. And by the way, in citizens, you can move around the track because this one at the bottom has a number 71. So you will go around the track sometimes twice. But anyway, it will tell you exactly where, whichever one's lowest will be your in-game scoring, and then you're going to count up all of your bonus points. What are bonus points? Well, for every ring that you have left over, it's going to be worth 2 victory points. Now, for every bread token or coin token or book token that you have, those are going to be worth 1 victory point each. And any 2 of resources that you have, would also count for a victory point. And I almost forgot that favor tokens also count as victory points as well. And of course, whoever has the most victory points wins the game. Final thoughts, what do I think about the game? Well, I do enjoy a good rondel. So when I heard about this game and I heard it was 2 rondels, I was like, I gotta check this out. folks, this game is amazing. It's amazing. The artwork looks good. The pieces look good. One of my friends was telling me, this kind of feels like a Queen game. I said, it does, but it's not. So for me, that's a big compliment if you're a Queen game in a way. But anyway, I love the double rondelle there. I love that you have to make decisions on, do you want to move in the country or do you want to move in the town? Now, at first you're going to be moving in the country a whole lot, but then eventually you're going to be moving in the town and trying to get those bonus points and trying to, you know, get more buildings, get more citizens and whatnot. So there starts to be a more balance as the game moves on. But I love it. I love it. I love all the choices. There's so much variety there. The event cards, all the events are good. And I mean, heck, the game only lasts 6 rounds, which for me, I don't feel that's enough. In fact, we're thinking about house ruling it to give you maybe 1 or 2 more rounds, even though that could kind of be unfair. But to be honest, that just shows you how much we just love this game. There is so much to decide on, so much different paths of victory too you can have. And I love that you're trying to balance your buildings and your citizens. And you gotta get a good balance on that. I think the first time we played this, I was going all out on getting citizens because I was so far behind in citizens. I had tons of buildings and only, 0 citizens. And the other player was doing a perfect balance of both and was beating me, even though they were going up incrementally on both of them. They eventually got a lot of citizens and were killing me. And I had to go, oh no, I need to focus on houses. But by then it could be too late. So I do love that you have to focus on both houses and citizens to make it work. Should you get the game? Yes, absolutely. I think this is just a phenomenal game. I was just very much impressed by it. Plus, those boards are modular. You can switch them around, so the rondelle, so to speak, will always be different. Such a fun game. Well worth my time. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, game on.